What is going on, Elite FPA Belfast community? How are we all doing? So I got some teaching for everyone today. Um, and I honestly believe that this is probably going to be one of the most valuable lessons that I can teach um, on my Live at 11. So I'm going to delve into some numbers this week. And the reason I'm doing this is because the more experience that I have gotten in the fitness industry and in business, I suppose, in general, the more I realize that it's all about the numbers. Okay. If you want to operate from a place of certainty, then it is all about the numbers, my friend. So I think this is going to be a big lesson for everyone today. I wrote in my weekly sort of email update that this was aimed at small gym owners in particular. I'm going to use that for an example, but I think everyone can learn from this, including some big box gyms, some commercial gyms, and even personal trainers on the gym floor, personal trainers in micro gyms, which we're going to go into a wee bit later on as well. Okay, so about the numbers, I'm going to give everyone a basic strategy for figuring out your operational capacity. Okay, so how is this going to fit? Okay, so what I mean by this is, let's say pre-COVID, your classes were filled, your sessions were filled, and you were maxed out in terms of numbers. All right. Now, obviously, things have changed in a big way. So we can't do that anymore. We know just from the legalities around social distancing laws, how many people can be in a certain room. But on top of that, okay, let's say from a safety standpoint, uh, are people actually will people want to go to a gym if it's at full capacity, even if there is social distancing measures in place? I don't know. I don't believe so. I know for me personally, it's still a bit raw, I think. And I think if we were to go back to how we were doing things pre-COVID, as in like sessions full, people side by side, even if it was at a 1 meter distance, I still don't think people would feel comfortable with that. So we're still going to have to maintain a lot of distance between people, which means the operational capacity is going to be different. All right. So I think that's a given. So we're going to have to work out what that is, if it's viable to still continue to do business the way we were doing business before. And if that's not the case, then what do we have to do in order to make the business profitable and make it run well? Now, I've looked at this. We've looked at this as a team at Hybrid, and we're pretty confident that we can very closely do business the way we were doing. We're very fortunate that we always kept our sessions to a maximum number of people. We've always charged more per head, and we have a pretty big facility. Okay, so we're kind of lucky in that way. Now, will we have to make some adjustments? Very possibly. We'll have to look at this again in a couple of months' time and say, okay, can we get in more people? Can we increase our operational capacity? And can we push up the profit margins as well? All right. So I'm going to run you through this. Stay with me on it. It is a very valuable lesson in what sort of shit is about to go down, and I would highly recommend that you do this if you are a gym owner. Even if you're a big box, commercial gym owner, I think you're going to find this very valuable. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here for just a second because I'm going to write some stuff on here on the whiteboard. Okay, so actually, let me just see if there's anyone on here. See if we got any questions before we get cracking. Rory Kennedy's on here. Very good to see you, dude. Okay, so we're gonna do some calculations here. Let's just move this over a wee bit. So we've got our gross pre-COVID, okay, and this is just hypothetical, by the way. So let's say you are a gym owner and pre-COVID. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. I should actually go on and check this. Yeah, you can see my screen. All good. Okay, so pre-COVID, we're going to keep this really simple, by the way. Let's say you were hitting £10,000 a month gross revenue, okay? Then let's take it, with the sort of hit that might have happened, in terms of retention, like whatever it is. And obviously these numbers are going to be sort of specific to the individual. But let's say post-COVID, your gross because you've taken a hit, some members have dropped off, whatever it is, post-COVID is 7K. All right. And again, I need to keep on saying that this is hypothetical. All right. So, with that in mind, okay, because so let's say before COVID, you were doing 120 sessions per month for your members, and then post-COVID, let's say you're going to have to drive that up. Okay, post-COVID, you're going to have to do 160 sessions per month to facilitate your members in the same way, but not having the same amount of people in the sessions. Okay, so let me go over that again. Pre-COVID, your revenue was 10K a month. Okay, post-COVID, your revenue is 7K. So you've retained, let's say, 70% of your customer base. 70% are comfortable going back to the facility and coming back and paying you and whatever else. But with that in mind, we can't have the same amount of people in the sessions as what we did do pre-COVID. So we're going to have to increase the number of weekly sessions that we put on for our members. So what's went from 120 sessions per month is now pushed up to 160 sessions per month to make sure that people feel comfortable going to those sessions, okay? So now what we have to do is divide our revenue by the number of sessions that we have on per month, and what we get is how much money we are making per session. Okay, so for the 10K a month and the 120 sessions per month, we're getting 83.30. For the $7,000 a month and 160 sessions per month, we're walking away with 43.70. All right. Now let's say you pay your staff £20 an hour. Okay, again, hypothetical. You pay your staff £20 an hour. Okay, so now what you got to do is subtract what you pay your staff, and you are left, we're going to take let's say you're left with £83, just to make, or sorry, £63, all right, just to make this really simple. Yes, I have all this written down beside me, by the way. And you pay your staff 20 quid there, so you're left with 23 quid. Okay. So now what we have to do is figure out what the percentage of 63 from 83 is, which is 75%. I'm going to put a equal sign here. And we've got to take 23 from 43, which is 53%. Okay, hopefully you guys are with me here. I had this recorded anyway, so if anyone isn't with me, then it's all good. So now what we need to do is we need to take 75% of our gross. All right. So what was that pre-COVID? It was post-COVID. 53% of 7,000 is going to be 3,710. Okay. So now we've got exactly what we're left with after we pay our staff and whatever else. Now, what other costs are there? Let's say we take the rent, the rates, electric, all of the other little outgoings you have, and we take our marketing. Okay, so let's say that equates to, just to keep it really simple, 3,000, which means we are left pre-COVID with a total of 4 grand. Post-COVID, we are left with a total of, which doesn't make for good reading. I'm sure you will agree. So, you know, what do we do about that? Okay, what do we do about that? And if this is the scenario, all right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. If this is the scenario, or if it looks like this, then that is not going to be a viable option to continue to do business in that way. So you're going to be left with no other choice. And I have said this here for a number of weeks now, and the only way around this, okay, the only way that I can see around this is to add a virtual option to your training. Okay, there's no other way around this, because if you want to continue to serve your people, all right, if you want to continue to get people results, you can have the best of both worlds. Okay, me personally, I think, I said in my email today, I think that this may well be a blessing in disguise for some parts of the industry. All right, I think this will be a blessing in disguise for some parts of the industry. Now, the reason why virtual is the only option, all right, if we go to, how many sessions per week do we continue to deliver? Let's say we brought that back down, okay? So we brought that back down to, let's say beforehand, your members were doing 4 sessions a week. Now what you can do is bring them down to 2 sessions a week and 2 virtual sessions as well. Okay, and you can still continue to coach your members. They can still get all of their sessions in. They can still get results. They can still get face-to-face contact time with you. But the profit margins are higher. The outgoings are less. The same amount of sessions are still delivered. Honestly, I literally, if someone comes to me with a better option than this, I am open to this. But based on my own experience, I have to look at the numbers and say, right, okay, does this make sense financially in order to do that? And based on the previous calculations that I have just given, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so we're going to have to maximize our operational capacity in order to continue to do business and to serve our people. Now, I understand that it may not necessarily make for good viewing. People sometimes don't want to hear the hard facts about this, but we also have to look at the reality of the situation. And if we try to go back to doing business the way we were doing it beforehand, then we're going to get a fucking kick in the teeth. I can assure you that. All right. And listen, the way I'm looking at it is this. Okay. I spent last week on a virtual mastermind with some friends in America who have been open since June 1st. Right. And, it's not looking good for them. I'll be honest. It's not looking good because in their state alone, the rate of infection is rising by 1,000 people at a time. Now, me personally, this is just my own personal opinion. Obviously, I'm no fucking, I'm no virologist. I don't know the ins and outs of this thing, and I'm never going to fucking say that I do. I see so many people on social media today, just talking shit about this. My own personal opinion is that we here have dealt with this thing pretty well. We have been on lockdown a lot longer than a lot of countries in the world whose infection rate was way higher than ours, whose death rate was way higher than ours. So that makes me optimistic, but I still have to look at the cold hard facts of the situation and look at what is happening elsewhere and learn from that. Okay, I have to learn from that situation and say that the only viable option is to condense down what we were doing beforehand. My friend's gym's been open from June 1st. It's been operating from then. I think it's in North Carolina, and the governor of the state has already hinted that there could be a second lockdown on the way for them, right? Which doesn't make me very happy, but at the same time, it makes me become more realistic and more determined to make sure that every single person who's on this page and who's involved in the fitness industry as a whole, in Belfast, Northern Ireland, does this shit right, okay? Because I fucking care about people and I want to make sure that we all get through this together. As I keep saying, a lot of people have said to me, and I'm going to speak a wee bit about this here soon. A lot of people have said to me, dude, you must be fucking happy. Some commercial gyms are really going to struggle with this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm not happy because I genuinely give a fuck about the fitness industry. Like, I care about people and I want to see everyone do well. Not just me, not just my team. I like to see people doing well in general. So I really think that we all need to accept the brutal facts, get the grips with the situation that we're in, and be smart about how we operate over the coming months and possibly fucking years. I mean, who knows? All right, who knows? Okay, so if I was you, I would, and you are a gym owner, even a commercial gym owner, like whatever it is, sit down with your team, look at those numbers and see how you can maximize your operational capacity based on what is ahead, based on where you're at currently and what you think could potentially happen as you go along. Crunch those numbers at least once a month and say, right, okay, how can we create more? And like I say, for me, it is a mixture of both in person and hybrid, because we can condense the in-person sessions to make sure that it fits with what we were doing previously. And then we can also add more value to the package via an online platform or online coaching or whatever it is. Okay, so I just can't see any other way around that. And if you do find that, then hit me up. Okay, so the next stuff, that was kind of the main bulk of the teaching that I wanted to get across today. The next stuff, I suppose, is just a conversation. I'm going to check on the page here, see if I have any questions on that. Roisin Dugan is on here. Bobby Adamson is on here. Tony is on here. Martin rates catches most. Well, I mean, people, I think Martin says the rates catches most. I mean, we've got a year. I think up until, is it March or something, is rate free for facilities. So there is some. I mean, again, it's just my own personal opinion. I think the government have done well in terms of supporting people. I know there are a lot of people who have um, probably been hard done by, and I do truly feel for those people. But I think as a whole, a lot of businesses did get support, albeit possibly not enough. I don't know. I don't know everyone's individual circumstances, and I'm hopeful that they will continue to support people and whatever through this year. But just given, the furlough scheme and grants and stuff, it was actually more than I was expecting, to be honest. I wasn't expecting anything at all. I was kind of just, I have some friends in America who have just been literally left to their own devices. I know in Italy and some other countries and stuff where people were just told, you're on your own. We'll see you at the other side of this thing, which, it makes me kind of grateful in a way. So, and again, once again, I don't know everyone's individual circumstances, but, hopefully there's more to come. And if that was all, then I know from a personal standpoint, I would be like, right, okay, now it's up to me to continue to, I suppose, add to the economy in whatever way I can. And that's just my own personal responsibility that I take on there. So, yeah, I mean, Martin's right. I mean, rates do come into it, but with the relief, then hopefully people get the grips with that a wee bit as well. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about is how to operate as a PT from a commercial gym with the restrictions in place. And honestly, once again, I think that this would be a good, what I just covered would be good for trainers to go through as well. Because if you, I know, I don't know what actual gym it was, but I know some commercial gyms have sent out like emails and stuff saying, hey, listen, how do you want to do this? Do you want to create a booking system? Do you want to queue up outside? Like whatever it is. So their operational capacity will have dropped massively again. Okay. Now, this could be just me, right? This could be just how I operate. And I suppose this feeds into what I'm going to talk to in a little bit. If it was me, I would be looking right now at opening my own private studio or my own micro gym. Okay. Now that's just me. I don't really like having my outcomes placed in someone else's control. All right. Now you might say that's a bit of a control freak or whatever, but I like to create my own destiny. Okay. So if it is to be, it's up to me. I don't want someone, potentially. So let's say, for example, I'm working in a commercial gym and the owner of the gym comes around and says, hey, listen, you can still continue to do business here. You can still continue to pay the rates of the gym, whatever else, but your sessions are going to be restricted, blah, blah, blah. Now, if that is the case and you don't have the option, then what you're going to have to do is go through the calculations that I've just drawn up, and you're going to have to make sure, does it work? Does the numbers add up for you to continue to do that? And if you need to condense down your sessions, probably deliver one PT session a week plus some online coaching, then I think you need to consider that. Now, if it was me, I would be straight up looking for my own facility, right? I would be looking to open up my own micro gym because I feel that micro gyms and now, ironically, how we've been operating at hybrid for a very long time now. We have always done small group sessions, always semi-private and personal training. We haven't done classes in, I think, 8 years. Okay, we've always kept, a large amount of space between people training, albeit whenever they're doubled up. We're going to do that now, and we have the capacity to do that, but we never had a massive amount of people in the sessions. And I would say before, before pre-COVID, maybe some fucking fitness business guru would have looked at that and said, hey, listen, you're doing the wrong thing here. You can maximize your operational capacity by fitting more people into the sessions and blah, 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 shortening the time of the sessions. But that never really fitted with how we wanted to deliver fitness and how we like to coach people, and basically how we operate. So we've always we've always found, smaller numbers, try and educate people in those sessions, try and deliver absolute quality to a maximum number of 12 people, sometimes with 2 coaches. We've always just found that to work best. And, sometimes we'll take a financial hit because of that, in terms of, what's the profitability of those sessions. But now, if we look at that, we're not really going to have to change much. Okay. Now, going back to what I was saying, I look at smaller micro gyms, and I see that they are the only way forward for the industry. All right. Because, well, I suppose for a number of obvious reasons. One, how many people can we have in at one time? 2, are people ever going to be comfortable going back to large group classes? Are people going to want their own space? Do they want to be in a gym where they feel like multiple people have used a bench or, a bike or whatever it is before them? I don't think that people will ever be comfortable doing that again, for the most part. I know, I seen a statistic there just the other day. It was like 66% of Americans are still not comfortable enough to go back to the gym. All right. So again, we have to take that into consideration. Now, if we take a smaller, let's say a smaller micro gym, for example, where the numbers are condensed, okay, no one shares equipment, and if they do share equipment, it's all sanitized down before and after. The gym is closed so that no one can get in or out, at least not with permission. Okay, they have enough space. They have their own sanitization station, all of those things, right? But on top of that, I feel like now people are going to want to invest in their health more so than ever, right? Now, it's up to us as an industry to look at that and say, right, okay, so what is the difference now? Okay, so obviously we can't do all that before, charging a low amount to someone, which in my opinion, again, if someone's paying a very small amount for a membership or coaching package or whatever it is in the gym per month, I think it has a tendency for them to have the opposite effect. All right. Now, you guys know how I feel about undercharging and whatever else. And I've done this, I've made this mistake, and I will never do it again. I think it devalues what we do as a whole. Okay. And I think as a whole, if we were to make a conscious decision and say, okay, if someone is paying more and they're invested more in their fitness and their health, people who pay attention. So if they've invested more with their watch and their wallet, then they're going to show up more often and they're going to get results. Okay. I know from me, from a personal standpoint, if I get something for free, I have a tendency not to value it. But if I pay for something, then I will fucking show up and do the work. And I think people are no different. And I think moving forward, given all of the restrictions in place, you know, for mass numbers going into a commercial gym with such a low monthly rate, I don't think people are going to want that anymore. And they're still going to want to invest in their health, but they want to know, what is the difference? Okay, what is the difference between me paying 25 quid a month to go and do 3 classes a week with, 40 people in there, versus me going to a semi-private session and paying, 300 odd quid plus a month, where there's only 4 people in the sessions, and I get, what is it else I get? So we have to inform them, okay, so you're going to get specific to you. You're going to get sessions that are specific to you. You're going to get nutrition that is specific to you. You're going to get accountability. You're going to get coaching. You're going to get guidance. You're going to get that camaraderie within your small group. All of the added stuff that adds more value to the package, and we have to make people more aware of all of that stuff, all of the stuff that involves coaching, and not just showing up and doing workouts. Okay, so if you are going to add more value, then what you have to do is simply add more coaching. Okay, you have to give them everything that gets results, because we know, all right, if you're a fitness professional and you're watching this, you know right now that what people need is not 3 workouts a week. Okay, anyone can do 3 workouts a week. What people need is someone to hold them accountable, someone to guide them, to make sure that they're doing the right things, someone to make sure that they're technically correct when they're executing on the gym floor. Support, like all of those, that's what really gets people results. Like if everyone was to just show up and do 3 workouts a week and go home and go about their life as they normally would do, without all of those, people would not get results, because they would be doing all sorts of stupid shit. Okay, 3 hours a week is not enough, in my opinion. Okay, so people need coaching. Maybe I'm just biased there again, but that's how I feel. So we have to make sure that people know the difference in that. And once they do know the difference, then people will be happy to pay more. I assure you, once you know the difference in what you're getting, you'll be happy to pay more. All right. So, that's why I feel micro gyms are the future of fitness. Okay. That's why I feel they're the future of fitness, for all of those reasons. And I do think that all of the procedures that COVID-19 has put in place could be a little blessing in disguise for a lot of people, because a lot of people are going to realize, oh shit, fuck, I can't charge that little and still be able to operate in my facility. I have to level up in terms of my coaching, because here's the thing, right? If you can get away, like let's say I have a class of 20 people, right? If I have a class of 20 people, I can go into that class and say, right, okay, everyone, let's do fucking some squats, some push-ups, some burpees, whatever it is. And you can get away with letting shit fly, right? Because these people know that they're just showing up to a class, there's X amount of people in it, the instructor can't get around all 20 people. But when you are coaching someone on a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 or 4-to-1, even, like whatever it is, you have to be on fucking point. Like every single part of your coaching has to be on point. You cannot fall asleep, right? You have to be enthusiastic as fuck. Okay, you have to be present in the session. You have to be technically on point as well. Now that's just my opinion, okay? So, falling asleep during those sessions just won't fly, and letting shit, fall in terms of technical standpoints just won't fly, okay? Because people are investing more and they want to know more. And for me, that's a great thing, because more and more trainers are going to be like, oh shit, right, okay, if I want to deliver more quality in a session, then I'm going to have to invest more in my own education as well, to make sure that these people are fucking leaving this session getting their money's worth. I'm not just they're not just walking in and I'm not just going, right, let's do fucking squats and burpees till you puke. Okay, because anyone, let's face it, anyone can give someone that. Anyone can tell someone to do squats and burpees and then stand there and count their reps. That's not really what a coach is. And in order to deliver quality, then the reality is that you just have to invest in yourself, okay, in order to deliver quality. Let me just check the group here, see if I got any questions on here. Do I have any questions? Nope. Tara McCulloch is watching. Damien Galvari is watching. Good to see you. Okay. What else was I going to talk about? Oh yeah. Okay. Last thing of the day. So I'm going to touch on. I normally don't really go into training or coaching discussions on these calls. I like to keep it. I like to keep most of that stuff for our students for an in-person discussion, because I generally find that that's when it works best. Coaching people through these types of things. But over the last couple of weeks, we've been testing our sessions in the gym, and just based on my own opinion, and again my own thoughts around training and how it should be done in order to get the best out of people, then I just thought, fuck it, I'll bring it up today. And I think it'll add, a wee bit of value again. So anyway, like I said, we've tested some sessions and it's worked well. Things have been going pretty smoothly in terms of the time constraints. Now, let's say, for example, we've always trained strength in our small groups. Once again, some people might disagree with that, but we make sure that people have the prerequisites again, and we taper the exercise selection to meet the individual. So, and we've trained our coaches in order to do that. We have a standard operating procedure as well, so that if shit's going wrong with a client, that each and every single one of our coaches know exactly what to do and what steps to take in order to progress or even potentially regress the client, so that the client gets the most out of the session. And I would highly recommend, if you're the head coach or the leader or whatever it is of your gym, that you do all of that with your coaches and with your team. Okay, that is one thing that I highly recommend you do, to make sure that every single person on your team is on the same wavelength, so that if stuff is going wrong with a client and one coach has to regress them, and they say to the client, listen, so this is the exercise when we're doing the program, this is what you're going to choose, so that when the next coach comes along and they see that happening, they know exactly why that's happening. All right. And again, what's going to happen, I feel anyway, with the whole social bubble thing in play, is that one coach will probably be responsible, at least we will anyway, for a group of people. So if we have a group of people in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the same coach is going to be taking those people in the AM. If we have a group of people in Monday, Wednesday, Friday PM, it's going to be the same coach that's taking those people. Because if I'm rolling my eyes when I say this here, but if one person in that group tests positive for COVID-19 and they don't know, right, and they show up 4 or 5 times to the gym, if that group is mixed, like if one coach is going in and out of different sessions, what that does basically is that spreads the infection. But if I have one coach looking after a group of 5 people, the same 5 people all of the time, well then I'm not going to have to close my gym if one of those people do get infected. What do I need to do? I need to inform every single person in that session, in that small group, including the coach. I need to inform them to go and self-isolate for 2 weeks because one person in your group has become infected, and I need to close the gym for a couple of days, have it deep cleaned, and then restart the sessions. And that is the reality of the situation that we are faced with. So, although I did say make sure that there's a standard operating procedure with your team, it might not necessarily come into place as yet, because of what I just discussed. So we're going to have one coach looking after a bunch of people. Now, back to what I was saying in terms of programming, I suppose. I'm a huge fan of escalating density training, and given the fact that we are, there's going to be time restrictions in place, we've cut our sessions down to 40 minutes in the gym. Okay, so that means 10 minutes prior and post the clients coming in, there's a clean down done with the coaches and the clients as well. All right, so now we've had to condense the sessions down to 40 minutes. We are completely adamant that mobility still has to be a massive component of what we do in the gym, and I highly recommend anyone watching this here does the same. You guys know how I feel about that. So we're still going to spend 10 minutes focused on mobility. Then what we've got is the turnaround time. Let's say it's another 15 minutes. Or sorry, not 15 minutes, 5 minutes by the time we have cleaned down the area, whatever else. So now what we've got is 12 to 15 minutes left for our strength block. We'll do that including the turnaround time. So for me, that has to be some form of escalating density training, as in, listen, you've got 10 minutes to do X amount of reps in the 10 minutes with this in between. Okay, whatever mobility session, whatever mobility work it is in between your strength work, and then the people execute that, and then finally we're going to finish with some conditioning. And again, even on that, I think that a lot of coaches are going to have to invest a little more in themselves in order to deliver conditioning in the way that it should be done. Most people in the past that I've seen have just been like, right, heart rate in the fucking red zone or whatever that means. And, there's no sort of heart rate variability. There's no recovery days, anything like that. It's just get on this fucking ski erg and go balls to the wall until you do 5,000 calories, right? Which is not going to fly, because again, you have to keep the equipment to a minimal. You don't really want people leaving their pods. Okay, a pod system is what we're using. People don't want to leave their pods. So unless you're going to have one piece of, assault bike, rower, ski erg in each and every single one of your pods, then that shit probably isn't going to fly as well. So what you need to do is, coach people around more bodyweight conditioning stuff, more, I would say, kettlebell conditioning stuff like snatches, swings, all that sort of stuff, and make sure that people are safe in doing it as well. Okay. Again, this is just some of the stuff that we have applied, which I've found has worked, really well. Our members, the ones that have tested this in the last couple of days for us, yes, we have trained a couple of our members in the last couple of days to make sure that we are up to speed with this. We mostly done it with our team. Okay, we mostly done it with our team, and then we invited a couple of relatives, a couple of long-term members in to do the session, to make sure that we organized this well and that everything went down exactly how we wanted it to go. We got them to give us honest feedback, and their honest feedback was, you guys have fucking nailed it. You guys have went over the top to make sure that we done things as safely as possible, and they are fucking super happy and super pumped to get back to the gym. Okay, so that is it for today. If you do have any questions, please hit me up. And listen, if you do have some valuable information, share it with a group. Sharing is caring. Nothing, at the start of this, I referred a lot to, at the start of lockdown, I referred a lot to the laws of nature. All right. And I know this seems a wee bit off topic, but trust me, it all interconnects. Nature optimizes for the whole. Okay. And what I mean by that is that nature only optimizes for evolution as a whole. right? And business works a lot like that as well. Okay, I've found that the more value that I have added to my industry, the more financially rewarding it has become. Okay, and that is because um, I'm optimizing for the whole. Right, I want to support you. I want to support everyone on here because I know that it is much more rewarding than me holding back information and telling you off up, we've got this big secret thing that's going to come along. That is not going to serve anyone. Okay, sharing's caring. Optimize for the whole. Share what you've got. Make sure everyone's safe. Make sure everyone's healthy. And I will see you on the other side. Peace out.